Louisville, Kentucky, but myself and my partner, Alan Gutterman, we've written about 20 books together. So this is the results of one of them, impact investing. So let me go through some of the introduction. It's obviously a hot topic. Everyone's talking about impact investing, but they also blend the terminology with some other words that I'm used to. So it's certainly getting the attention of investors, regulators, politicians, and media. It's based on ESG principles. So where does that lead us? The terms and terminology that we'll be using. So social enterprises, for me, it's the framework that shifts the emphasis from just funding for exclusive financial returns to a broader looking at the impact on society. And then, of course, we all hear about ESG, environmental, social, and governance factors. And that's the framework used to evaluate a company's environmental risks and practices. And then impact investing, that's the name of the book. For me, the difference between environmental, social, and governance factors and impact investing, this is the measurement. It's one thing to say we're going to be more effective, we're going to do a better job at it. But in the reality, how do you know? I used to take auditing courses, and the professor used to say, if you don't measure it, it does not exist. And so when you think about, for me, it's impact investment, if you're not measuring the impact on society, it doesn't exist. It has to be some kind of standard that's being measured. So we're going to be talking about that. And to sort of give a broader perspective, what we did is we brought together authors from Korea, India, China, Asia, Europe, Latin America, and Africa. And what was fun is that the authors identified many commonalities, but there were also several differences. And the differences were more disproportionate, not as common. They tended to be a different one. Reminded me of the opening lines of Anna Karenina. All happy families are happy life, all unhappy families are unhappy, separately, distinctively. And so this is what we found for impact investing. A lot of commonalities, but at the same time, there's a lot of differences. And what better way for us to learn this than having the speakers do it? Here's the most important slide for the entire day, not the entire program here. Here's how you can order this magnificent book. But as an incentive, there are 3 free copies that I have. Those 3 free copies are going to go to the people who are still here at the end and ask the first 3 questions. So get ready to be thinking about what your question is going to be if you want a brand new, hot off the presses copy of this ABA book. And then, like I said, I'm Robert Brown. I'm with Lynchcock in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm the former chair of the international section. And then we're going to have, oh boy, it says, look at this lineup. Soo-Young Song is a partner with Shin & Kim, one of my favorite firms here. And she's been doing this and has been emphasizing working on this topic for a long time. And Angela, let me emphasize Angela. She wrote not only the chapter on China, but many of the chapters on Africa was because of her work rounding up or helping to edit the author's submissions. Now, here's a nice plug for you. Those of you who are looking for great talent, let me emphasize, Angela is looking for her next career. And she's been working in New York and many other great cities. So if you're looking for a phenomenal talent, let me emphasize, you're lucky enough to be looking at her right here. Angela, I know I built it up, but it is so true.
Thank you.
And then Mark is in Los Angeles, in Silicon Valley, but he did the chapter on France. So we thought, well, if we're going to do a lot of chapters on Asia, let's do one on France as a counterpoint to see the differences and the let's learn from it. And Nam Young is fantastic. We got a bunch of lawyers up here talking about what impact investing. Why don't we bring in someone who actually is running, operating, measuring, evaluating impact investing? So she's an Impact Squared director, and what a neat name of a company, Impactology. Congratulations, I think this is one of my favorite names I've seen in several years. Impactology, how do you measure? Because all of the most delicate parts of impact investing is on this issue, how do you measure and what should be it? So we're going to be looking at support around the world. Many countries have structured and predate the United States. We were really slow coming up with this. Standards are improving. Pre-2016 legal frameworks were lacking. Many countries have developed structures, so it's making great. So when we move forward, what is a social enterprise? Private, for-profit, non-profit, or hybrid. social mission that uses business approaches to achieve the objectives. And there's less agreement who's going to lead the issues. If the private sector is going to be creating the rules, or is going to be the public sector. Formally defining and also creating the structures. So the four approaches that government and I have seen are not defined at sea, leave it to the entrepreneurs to adapt pre-existing structures, or not defined but create a range of forms that can be used, or the executive branch defines it, or the legislative branch. In the U.S., you'll see benefit corporations are preferred. EU not follow a single legal form. EU trend is sort of European benefit corporations, so thank goodness Mark is going to be here. And then the other variations from UK, Canada, and Korea, but I'm not going to talk about this, but we have the talent, we have the experts right here to talk about it. So may I get out of the way, and I'm going to go back to the opening slides so people will remember what we're doing here. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Is it here or?
Where are you? Why? Because this is a conversation.
Okay.
Don't worry, they're not going to leave because they got three free books.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to welcome all of you who have come to Korea for this conference. And I'd also like to extend my gratitude to Robert Brown for providing us a lot of support in preparing for this conference. And the primary reason for me being here today is my collaboration with Robert from 2020 to 2021. I took part in writing a Korean chapter of the book Impact Investing and Social Enterprises introduced by Robert just before. I can recall myself committing to the thinking about the legal aspects around impact investing in Korea. There are not many statutes regarding impact investment in Korea. Accordingly, the Korean chapter of the book explores the practical aspects and emerging trends in the field of impact investing within Korea. Back then, Impact Square provided me with significant guidance in shaping my understanding of practical approaches in impact investing. And today, we are fortunate to have Director Ms. Yoon from Impact Square joining us as a speaker. I believe that she will offer us with detailed and in-depth insights about the practical approaches on this topic. During my speech, I will begin with an overview of impact investing from a Korean law perspective. Second, I will explore key considerations of impact investing. And lastly, I will go over the trends in the latest impact investing in Korea. In Korea, impact investing is commonly defined as investment made to generate a measurable, beneficial social or environmental impact alongside achieving a financial return. This definition aligns with the widely recognized concept referred by Global Impact Investing Network. Historically in Korea, organizations and enterprises subject to impact investment includes cooperatives, village enterprises, self-sufficient enterprises, social enterprises, and social ventures. To understand the landscape of impact investment in Korea, it is necessary to understand institutional framework supporting social economy enterprises through social finance and social ventures. Social finance refers to financial support provided to social economy enterprises which aim to pursue both social value and financial return. And social economy enterprises includes enterprises in form of cooperatives, village enterprises, self-sufficient enterprises, and social enterprises. These types of enterprises receive various forms of institutional support, including tax benefits under the relevant laws. In 2007, after the Social Enterprises Promotion Act was enacted, the number of social enterprises certified by the Ministry of Employment and Labor has been steadily increasing. Starting from 55 in 2007, a total of 3,598 enterprises have been certified as social enterprises as of June 2023. To these enterprises, government supports are provided in the form of loans, guarantees, and equity investments, in addition to tax benefits. Over the years, as the interest of venture capitalists and the government in impact investment increased, organizations and enterprises subject to impact investment attracted attention. Of particular interest were social ventures, whose goal is to solve social problems through commercialized innovative technologies or business models. And social enterprises whose goal is to help vulnerable social groups or contribute to the community to enhance the quality of lives of community residents. Social ventures refer to companies that aim to address social issues while generating financial returns. The concept of social enterprise defined in the Social Enterprise Promotion Act refers to businesses that pursue financial returns while prioritizing public values. On the other hand, social ventures, as defined in the Enforcement Decree of the Act on Special Measures for the Promotion of Venture Businesses, are described as businesses that comprehensively seek social and economic values. Of the two, social ventures attract investment funds more easily than social enterprises. This is due in part to the Social Enterprise Promotion Act, as it obliges social enterprises to use at least 2/3 of its distributable profits for social purposes. By contrast, under the Act on Special Measures for the Promotion for Venture Businesses, social ventures mainly receive equity investment through funds, including those managed by Korea Venture Investment Corp. And by Korea Growth Investment Corp. The Korean government has been trying to make the investment process easier by announcing a guideline for distinguishing social ventures and proposing to amend the Act on Special Measures for the Promotion of Venture Business to provide a legal basis for investment in social ventures. Government-funded institutions are actively shaping the landscape of impact investing, while in the private sector there is a notable expansion of impact investing directed towards social ventures. In other words, the government has been creating an institutional framework to support social economy enterprises and encourage private investments in the social economy enterprises through social finance. On the other hand, Ministry of SMEs and Startups has consistently undertaken efforts to support the founding and growth of privately emergent social ventures. The ministry has also established impact funds for facilitating private investments in social ventures, leading to an impact investment boom. The expansion of impact investing has been backed by government support and is propelled by the rising scale of investment facilitated by funds jointly funded by both the public and the private sector. In addition, major Korean corporations are showing keen interest in nurturing social ventures. They can create both financial and non-financial values. Practical information about social ventures that have become subject to major impact investing can be gained in various ways. One such method includes analyzing information provided by impact investing companies such as Impact Square. The common investment focus of these companies lies in the field of educational technology, food technology, healthcare, and childcare. Although many impact investors claim their focus incorporates the topic of environment, little has actually been invested in companies that directly deal with environmental issues in Korea. Rather, the extent of environment-related investment is limited to companies that approach carbon emission issues indirectly, such as food technology. These discrepancies may be addressed in time due to the increasing global and societal concern for the environment, particularly through investment in climate technology to actively promote the transition to net zero emissions. Further, as the size of these impact investment companies grows, it is expected that the scale of investments in the environmental sector will also increase. Here are some examples. One of Korea's leading impact investing companies recently established a fund of 10 billion Korean won to invest in early stage climate tech startups. In 2023, the company reached an agreement to invest in Capture 6, the Silicon Valley-based startup, developing direct air capture-based carbon capture technology. Carbon capture technology. Another impact investing company is investing in Recarbon, a company developing the microwave plasma technology, which efficiently decomposes and converts greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and methane. The next part relates to how impact investing differs from other types of investments. Despite Korea's significant strides in impact investment, issues still remain when defining impact investment as investment made to generate positive, measurable social and environmental impact alongside financial return. These issues include distinguishing impact investing from other types of investment and measuring impacts. Impact investing companies provide some guidance on distinguishing impact investing from other forms of investments. For instance, the impact investing company first defines the social issue it aims to address through investment, and then conducts due diligence on target companies that operate within the field. And specifically, the investing company assesses whether the target company's business meets at least one of 17 UN SDGs, and then assesses whether the target company expressed willingness to solve the selected social problem, whether its business model contributes to solving the problem, and whether the target company's investor can exert positive influences to create an impact. Also, the investing company assesses whether the target company defines a theory of change that effectuates the actual impact, and whether the target company designs a methodology to quantify assets and evaluate the value of impact based on its theory. Next, the investing company ensures that the impact is ingrained in the target company's management and organizational culture, and supports decision-making aligns with the target company's mission. Finally, the investing company examines the impact sustainability and the target company's efforts to preserve the impact by reflecting values in its organizational culture and articles of incorporation. Next, the key issues in impact investing revolve around the consideration of how to effectively measure impact, as discussed by Robert. While foreign standards such as the social return on investment, the B impact assessment, and the ISO standard exist to measure impact, some Korean impact investment companies have developed independent standards that are more attuned to fitting its respective needs. One of the impact investing companies used UN SDGs to determine the social issues the company aims to address, and then quantify social impact, which encompasses the value contributed to public interest and community development that cannot be measured by the conventional accounting concepts. The company takes into account not only the impact at the output level, but also at the input level, as it believes that social ventures can also yield significant social impacts by putting its resources into its value chain. The impact investing company further considers financial performance when determining impact, as it believes a social venture in the startup stage must be able to respond to increasing demand. To measure growth, the company considers growth rate of sales or increase rate of its enterprise value rather than the absolute sales amount. The investment company finds the company's growth rate to be a meaningful indicator of potential recognition that helps the social venture and investors alike. While there are a brief mention of ESG investing earlier, ESG investors typically focus on ESG risks of companies that could potentially affect investment performance. By contrast, impact investors concentrate on areas where they can address global social issues alongside generating financial returns by taking a more macroscopic perspective. For example, they consider investment in areas that contribute to achieving UN SDGs such as poverty, inequality, and climate change. These are global issues that require collective efforts of all humanity. In Korea, impact investing is understood as a type of ESG investing, and the increasing prominence of ESG investing is attributed by the evolving societal awareness as well as increasing demand of ESG considerations among limited partners of the funds. In fact, from both legal and practical perspectives, I don't believe that drawing a clear conceptual distinction between ESG investing and impact investing holds significant meaning. I rather believe that systematic investment management is essential to ensure that investment action aligns with the investment purposes and enables target companies to assess their current status in terms of impact, establish goals to expand their impact, and implement a comprehensive positive investment management system. As the success of stories of impact investing accumulate to a desirable scale, it is expected that more opportunities will arise for law firms to offer meaningful legal due diligence and legal advice. However, given the current scale, it appears that there may be limited room for large law firms to play a significant role in this field. Much like the successful founders and CEOs of Silicon Valley startups, many CEOs of startups in Korea also reinvest their earnings into promising ventures in Korea and other world. These ventures often adopt a systematic approach, emphasizing meticulous legal and financial considerations right from the start to avoid early stage errors. I hope to see these trends expand into the realm of impact investing. This brings to the end of my speech. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you very much.
15 minutes, right?
Exactly. And what's really also amazing, here I am breathing down your neck, showing you the clock, and you're still getting through the speech with really great information. So thank you. Okay, you ready for Angela?
Yes.
This is one I can't wait to hear about.
Yes, so I'm going to give an overview of impact investing and social enterprise in China. My presentation is going to start with an overview of the market and growth of impact investing and social enterprise in China, followed by policy framework and government initiatives, common funding vehicles and sourcing opportunities, and lastly, challenges and opportunities in China. So to start my presentation, I will say that China has seen a rapid growth in impact investing in recent years. The Chinese asset management industry now actively embraces ESG, which is environmental, social, and governance factors in its investment decisions. Powerful drivers leading this change have been the increased demand from international clientele, the rapid globalization of China's equity markets, which has led to the importation of an ESG mindset, as well as China's growing green bond market having to comply with new international ESG standards. China will likely continue to grow in the area of impact investing with a growing green credit market, which has encouraged companies to invest in ESG-related products, and strategic government policies, which have promoted sustainability programs, and an increase in companies that are eager to leverage new technology to accelerate impact. China has continuously been formulating and implementing, policy towards international ESG standards since 2012, but even with the growing body of regulatory guidance for ESG reporting, developments have remained fragmented, and some of the guidelines still remain voluntary. Nevertheless, a growing number of Chinese companies are already making ESG disclosures, and many of those that are currently not doing so have indicated in a recent study that they plan to do so soon in the future. There have been some notable efforts since 2012 to establish guidelines in China for ESG and ESG disclosures, and I'll go through a few of those for you. In 2012, the China Banking Regulatory Commission issued the Green Credit Guidelines, which mandated the banking and financial institutions to take the initiative to promote green credit and increase their support of growth of green economies in China. Followed by that, in 2018, the People's Bank of China, along with the China Banking and Insurance Regulatory Commission, the China Securities Regulatory Commission, the National Development and Reform Commission, and the Ministry of Finance, jointly issued a directive urging financial institutions to increase their investments in key economic and social areas, and also address weak links with small and micro enterprises. Listed companies in China have also been encouraged since 2018 to disclose ESG information under the Listed Company Governance Code. The Asset Management Association of China additionally published the Green Investment Guidelines, which began to be implemented in 2018 and provided guidance to fund managers on using published green criteria to screen for green investments. Additionally, the China Trustee Association thereafter published the Green Trust Guidelines, encouraging trust companies to develop green trusts and requiring them to follow green criteria when selecting investments. In 2020, the People's Bank of China again issued pilot guidance to financial institutions on environmental information disclosure. The China Banking and Insurance Regulatory Commission also introduced the Green Finance Guidelines in 2020 for the banking and insurance industry, requiring these institutions to promote green finance and proposing they incorporate ESG. In 2022, new measures were also implemented to impose annual ESG disclosure requirements on businesses considered to be major polluters and publicly traded companies charged with environmental violations within the last 12 months. In 2022, the China Enterprise Reform and Development Society also published voluntary ESG disclosure guidelines aiming to establish uniform disclosure practices focusing on China ESG priorities. And now, in the current 2023 year, the China Central Depository and Clearing Corporation and the International Capital Markets Association also jointly published a white paper on ESG in China, detailing implementation progress and also offering proposals for further ESG development. So as you can see, it's been very sporadic, very fragmented, and there's still an effort to try to streamline that and make disclosures mandatory. Various industry associations have been issuing self-regulatory rules, and stock exchanges and the National Association of Financial Market Institutional Investors have also been clarifying definitions relating to ESG, such as definitions for green bonds and the requirements for their issuance. And organizations have also been created in China to help build out an impact investing ecosystem, including the Global Impact Investing Association, aiming to lead impact investing in China, and Credit Ease, which has aimed to build a microfinance business in China. The tech industry in China has also set the tone on ESG adoption through its use of technology to enable progress towards inclusive economic development, sustainable and socially responsible practices, and also to track more ESG measures. And lastly on this one, I will just say that the International Sustainability and Standards Board has also recently issued its first sustainability-related disclosure standards to take effect from January 2024. And this may also provide a blueprint for ESG disclosure harmonization in Asia, which includes China as well. So on to policy framework and government initiatives on this topic in China. In recent years, China has enacted governmental policies to incentivize companies to comply with stricter ESG standards and have provided governmental subsidies to grow the green financing market. China has pledged stronger climate targets and it has vocalized a goal to reach carbon neutrality by 2060. The Chinese government also aims to stimulate domestic growth through the adoption of green technologies and updating urban infrastructure to become more green friendly. China has placed a renewed focus on usage and storage of renewable energy and has embarked on a mass expansion of solar manufacturing, even though it's already the world's largest manufacturer and installer of solar panels. In addition to that, Chinese regulators are now starting to target mandatory ESG disclosures by domestically listed companies, and ESG-related enforcement has become a priority for Chinese regulators, and actions are starting to be taken to increase enforcement activities. So we are moving in the direction of, a more streamlined approach, more mandatory disclosure approach. Not 100% there yet. Common funding products and vehicles in China and various sourcing opportunities for impact investing include banks in China. They're the primary source of credit to companies. Banks in China have increasingly been recognizing the financial opportunities associated with green financing products and have been incorporating these products into their lending activities. The Chinese government has also established the green financial system, which has paved the way for the expansion of the green bond market in China and led to China becoming a top world issuer of green bonds. Additional sourcing opportunities for the growth of impact investing in China, outside of green financing by banks and issuance of green bonds by Chinese corporates include a growing investor interest in ESG-related investments by mutual and private equity funds, growing number of domestic ESG-themed funds being listed as ESG-focused funds, though these ESG standards still differ from the standards that are observed abroad. Wealthy families throughout China and Asia investing large amounts in impact investing funds, and companies turning to Asia as a new place to invest, even though they have been investing historically, but there's renewed interest, and as a place to attract a new socially conscious group of investors. Lastly, Chinese philanthropists are also now joining together to promote impact investing, and this has really taken off as a result of the global COVID-19 pandemic and a renewed interest in helping the world. So some challenges in impact investing in China include, although listed corporations are following certain reporting standards, the quality of that reporting has been low, and this has remained an obstacle for asset managers seeking ESG information to factor into their investment decisions. Additionally, ESG standards set by foreign buyers are not always consistent with those set by Chinese companies. And there are also differences between standards, the different types of Chinese companies. For instance, private sector Chinese companies tend to follow stricter ESG standards for governments than do state-owned enterprises. Additional challenges include Chinese companies still lag behind their developed market peers when it comes to ESG disclosures, and there are still Chinese companies that do not report enough ESG data to show whether or not they qualify for ESG funds. There's also the continued ability of companies to raise funds in China's stock market without ESG disclosures. And this is because China's stock market continues to be dominated by retail investors who typically seek fast returns. China's corporate culture also still needs to fully adopt the mindset that investing according to ESG factors will outperform benchmarks in the long run. Some opportunities for a growing market in China and the future of that market include China is well positioned to assume a greater role in the area of investing, and this is as a result of the rise in family offices in China, resulting in a pool of business-oriented capital seeking to foster public good, the growth of the venture capital market in China, resulting in a new generation of venture models and funds seeking to deploy capital to innovate for the public good, a younger generation of individuals with a strong social value focus are increasingly controlling private wealth and mobilizing social entrepreneurship in the country. A majority of charitable giving in China is now being done through corporations, and there's been a growth in corporate social responsibility activities. And the Chinese government has enacted regulation to provide philanthropic organizations more flexibility to engage in charitable for-profit investment activities. Lastly, I will say that there have been a growing number of Chinese signatories to the UN Principles for Responsible Investment, and this has reflected the growing trend towards impact investing in the country.
So that is the conclusion of my speech.
But do me a favor, can you repeat the magic number? I couldn't believe the year that you were talking about what happened.
Carbon neutrality
Yeah.
was 2060. Yeah, I mean, that's the aim that they've vocalized, yeah.
It's fascinating
For
concept.
Korea, it's 2050.
Yeah, it's just beyond me that they have established a target, and presumably they anticipate of keeping that target. Especially in all the stories that you read. Okay, I'm ready to travel to France. I don't know about you all. And so, he's got his own. So.
Oh.
I have my own mic, yeah. Good morning, everybody. My name is Mark Weitz. I have a law practice in Los Angeles, but I also am transcontinental, being in France as well. I wrote the chapter on France, and I will be talking about France this morning. And the current situation of impact investing in France. I'll explain what's going on now, the different regulations, the certification and labeling of impact investment, coming trends, the certification and labeling of and advice attorneys can give to their clients who want to invest in France in a sustainable way. This advice is also to companies looking to attract investment from impact investment funds or funds looking to become impact compliant. France has been at the forefront of impact investment, starting with the NRE Act, the National Economic Regulations Act in 2001, which stipulated that companies whose securities can be traded on a regulated market are required to publish information on the manner in which they address the social and environmental impacts of their activities. The NRE did not provide for sanctions, but was more of a philosophy toward ESG. Also in 2001, France launched the Fonds Solidaire, a savings plan where up to 10% of assets allocated to employee savings fund are invested in social projects. FINASOL was created as a specialized body that certifies solidarity-based financing products and monitors trends in social enterprise savings. In 2012, Article 225 of the Second Grinnell Act took effect, requiring companies to report the details of their ESG activity in their annual report and widen the number of companies to report to companies with over 500 employees. It also broadened the scope of the measuring categories to 40. This was followed up by Article 173 in 2015, which was a, quote, comply or explain requirement for investment managers to report on their portfolio's ESG integration, greenhouse gas emissions risk, and contributions to a low carbon economy. In that same year, France implemented ESG labeling rules with the SRI, Socially Responsible Investment label for ESG funds, and the Green Fin labels for green funds. I will be discussing these more in depth in a few minutes. In 2017, France issued its first green bonds to finance green projects. So next I'm going to move to the most important part, and that is labeling. These are the labels that are earned and certified to funds, telling you that they are compliant with ESG measuring criteria. There are several bodies that label and certify which funds are considered to meet a set of criteria. As elsewhere, the criteria and standards vary and have not reached the mature stage of having a common consensus. This is something we speak about a lot regarding ESG. The standards are different everywhere. The measuring criteria are different everywhere. This is what France has done to try to create standards for impact in ESG investing. The case studies and various sustainability labeling show a struggle to define impact investment. What standard are used to declare an investment is impact or ESG are important for both the investment manager making the decision and the consumer digesting the marketing that the managers produce. There is currently the Autorité de Marché Financier, AMF in France, and the Dutch equivalent, which is the AFM in the Netherlands. They have proposed a European regulatory framework for providers of sustainability-related services. The standards are aimed at preventing misallocation of investments, greenwashing, and ensuring investor protection. Greenwashing is where funds or companies say they are good for the environment, but are in fact using measures that are not quite, legit, and yet they have an appearance of being legit. This is called greenwashing. Current ESG investing faces a situation in which, quote, green enterprises have trouble finding traditional financing on the one hand and a large demand for ESG qualified investments on the other. So now I'm going to get into the details of the two main labels that are used in France, the first of which is the Greenfin label. This was created by the French Ministry of Ecological Transition. The goal of the label Greenfin is to guarantee that certain funds meet the criteria of green investment. These are funds that invest in the fight against climate change in areas of energy, construction, waste control, industry, clean transportation, information technology, agriculture and forestry, and adaptation to climate change. Nuclear energy and companies that explore and produce fossil fuel energy are completely excluded, while distributors, transportation companies, producers of equipment and services are limited to fossil fuel use of 33% of revenue. Companies that get more than 33% of the revenue from activities are considered wasteful, such as those that are not fuel efficient or exploit the forests, are excluded from the label. The companies that can certify the Greenfin label are Ernst & Young France, Novotech, and AFNOR. As of now, there are 104 funds that carry the Greenfin label worth 35 billion euros. The next label is the ISR label, that's in French, Investissement Socialement Responsable. That's SRI in English, Socially Responsible Investment. This is a specific label created by the French Ministry of Economy and Finance in 2016 to distinguish funds that invest in a socially responsible way, such as benefiting the environment, the well-being of workers, and good governance. It uses a robust methodology of measurable indicators. The funds must follow 6 pillars to quantify their ESG activity. That is, define the objective, put in place a methodology of analysis, construct and manage a portfolio, engage with the companies in whom they invest about their philosophy, present their strategy to potential investors, and measure the impact of the ESG strategy in each investment. The 3 external organizations that are licensed to measure and issue the ISR label are AFNOR certification, Ernst & Young France, and Deloitte. Together, these organizations are called the COFRAC, Comité Français d'Accréditation. Lastly is a smaller label, bringing it up so that you are all aware of it. It's called the Relance label, or the Restart. It was created in 2020 due to the COVID economic crisis, and it's a program to designate investment funds that support small to mid-sized businesses with the label Relance. But beyond that requirement of investing at least 30% in French companies, all stocks in the fund must meet ESG requirements and are forbidden to invest in stocks that are active in carbon. So moving on from labeling, I want to talk about government support for ESG projects, starting with green bonds. Like many countries, France has found success in issuing green bonds. These bonds support public and private impact projects such as those that focus on renewable energy, energy efficiency, clean transportation, waste management, and adapting to climate change. For example, this might be a French village looking to improve its bus system, sewage system, and energy needs, but which simply does not have the means. Other beneficiaries are small projects considered too risky for investors, have a lack of sufficient funds, or are too small. Investing in green bonds can be done directly or by investing in green bond funds. One of the goals of the green bond funds is to encourage impact investing and phase out tax incentives. There's also targeted impact investing. The Ministry of Environment and Solidarity controls the French Impact Initiative, whose goal is scaling up social businesses with a 50 million euro seed fund and a 1 billion euro accelerator fund for, quote, engaging different areas and local ecosystems in social innovation. These projects apply directly to the government. Also, the French bank BNP has issued 6 social impact contracts called CIS that provide a vehicle for investors to support experimental new initiatives from social organizations. These come with a guarantee that the French government will reward investment with a premium if agreed upon measured social outcomes are met. Next, I want to talk about the French public funds. These are the pension funds and their investments. There are 2 major ones. There's the ERAFP and the FRR. The ERAFP, as of year-end 2022, has 38.2 billion euros under management for France's 4.5 million civil servants and has applied SRI ESG principles since 2005. ERAFP now has a 100% SRI policy based on a charter of 5 investment values. Because several trade union leaders sit on their board, 3 of those values cover human rights, social progress, and employee democracy. The other 2 are the environmental and good governance standards. Next, moving on to the other public fund, the FRR. This is the Fond de Réserve de Retraite. It's considered like a sovereign fund. They manage 21.2 billion euros in assets under management as of 2022 and cover 17 million French workers. This is a pay-as-you-go system. The FRR began its ESG SRI investment in 2003. In addition to implementing ESG strategies, the FRR actively votes its proxies based on SRI principles. Lastly, and most important for you, I want to discuss how all these can be implemented in your law practice to advise your clients. Either these are clients wanting to invest in ESG funds, funds wanting to become ESG compliant, or companies wanting to receive investments from ESG funds. Those seeking to invest in French ESG funds should begin with the labels I described earlier. That's the Greenfin label and the SRI label. Each of the entities certifying these labels offers a list of the funds that meet those criteria. And again, the entities certifying those are EY France, Deloitte, Novatech, and AFNOR. French impact investing has been supportive of both traditional and small green investments. The labeling initiatives are aimed at identifying those funds that invest in stocks and bonds that meet ESG criteria. And a good start is actually going on the France Invest website, and that is franceinvest.eu. And there you can find downloadable publications in both English and French on impact investing. Beyond that, France looks to support smaller green investment, for example, by supporting projects in small French villages, which I've discussed. Investment in France's green bonds is a way to support this kind of development. Also remember to look at BNP CIS contracts. And very importantly, France being part of the EU, the French aim to coordinate their ESG investment criteria, regulation, and support with the European Union. Thus, any review of ESG investing is always studied with an eye toward Europe as a whole. Transparency and measurement are problems not unique to France, but France has been at the forefront of governing such requirements. Look for continued leadership from France in solving the problems of greenwashing and innovation in investment vehicles and transparency. That covers France. Thank you for your time.
You know, Mark, the fun part of this is we get to realize it's not just an Asian issue, or in our case, a United States issue. It's in Europe, and especially with France, what they're doing. I can't wait to find out. We just heard a bunch of attorneys talk about all these issues, so we get to learn from you about how it's being measured and evaluated. Thank you. Don't forget, 3 questions. We got first 3 people who ask questions at the end, you get a free book. One of you each for each of the books out there. So, ready? Stay around. You know what? I think we're going to front so we can watch the screen. Spinning our neck. size of the audience would be.
Okay, hello everybody. I'm a little bit nervous because I'm Steven and Robert introduced me and my impact scale very nicely. So, okay, hello everybody. My name is Nambi Yin from Impact Scale, and actually I was offered to share the insights and practice in the impact investor and the impact investor, Steven and Robert. Thank you for being here today. Okay, I'm so grateful to be able to share my observation on status in the investment ecosystem of investing in Korea. Korea's investment ecosystem is so dramatically changes in the recent 5 years. You already mentioned that. And also, I'm going to share our approach as an impact investment based on the impact investment principles. So I used the data we conducted research 2 years ago and introduced cases we are investing in based on the investment approach. I have only 50 minutes, not too much time, but I would like to introduce my company, ImpactScale, briefly, because you guys are not familiar with the same. We actually are located in Seongsu, Seoul area. I think that one of the most innovative areas is you guys, if you have time after the conference, to hang out the Seongsu area, and you guys make energy generation a lot. As an impact accelerator and an impact investor, working to build an impact business where social ventures can create social and economic value. And also, we invest in early stage social ventures and focus on early stage social ventures to enable their businesses to grow and enhance positive and active impact. So, Robert said, since 2010, we have passionately, actually me, and tried to contribute to building an impact ecosystem and establish impact project research inside the impact sphere. So we are continually doing research related to impact measurement and evaluation. We're doing, I guess, 300 cases for impact measurement and evaluation for social ventures. We think this is the foundation to build on more and better impact investment ecosystem. We are doing, we are working with various corporations and government agencies and also as well as social ventures. So we are doing accelerate more than 500 social ventures and investing in about 60 companies. As Robert mentioned in the introduction sections, and you guys already know, as we impact investors, we also think that impact investment is more purposeful and intentional to impact and compared to ESG and other investment type. And also impact investment aims to create a positive and specific impact through social and environmental problems. As impact investors, we think and strongly believe that impact investment are useful tools for discovering business opportunity in social and environmental problems and growing them into business. With the perspective of the impact investment, I would like to share some of the research in the changes in the impact investment ecosystem in Korea. Luckily, actually, we have an opportunity to conduct research on the impact investment ecosystem trend in SK Happy Nare for 2 years ago. We conducted a survey for impact investors to obtain the data for impact investment, asking the opinions and for impact management. what is needed for the development of the impact investment ecosystem, and then what they are doing, what is needed for the development for development for the impact investment ecosystem in Korea. Over the past decade in Korea, the impact investment ecosystem has continued to grow and much expand, and also the various stakeholders are participating and dealing on various social and environmental issues. The graph, as you see, this graph shows that global total amount of the impact grant creation has increased dramatically, especially since 2008. It increased about 10 times from 2060 to 611 million in 2021. The scale of impact investment has expanded over more. This graph shows that also the number of GP has increasing. New GPs are entering the impact investment market every year, and in particular since 2007. Also the GP with no impact investment previous impact investment experience have been increasing. That is interesting observation in Korea. This means that I think we think the incentive voucher for impact investment would be increasing. In terms of the LP, the types of LPs are more diversified. So 2012, only the corporation and pensions and funds are major LPs in the impact investment ecosystem. But since 2018, the various LPs are participating in the impact investment ecosystem as LP. So that means the liquidity of the impact investment market has been dramatically increasing. Now also we think that impact investment market has been expanding. Okay, next from that, from now on, I'm going to introduce my company's impact investment management and share the interesting case we are investing in. We have initiated the impact investment as a 2003 as a seed money. So we actually more actively from impact fund, and from 2020 we have created 5 funds and managing $50.8 billion. And also we invested to create social ventures within social environmental issues. The first is time and job creation, and also the use for give up opportunity for use, and including the use of global fund. As an impact investor, also we are really enthusiastically focused on doing impact measurement. So we are not buying the social ventures for investment. To this end, we have doing the 3 processes for choosing good social ventures and to increase the impact. To this end, we will review the social ventures impact according to 3 principles. The first is the social entrepreneurship, next is the scalability of impact, finally the potential to contribute to business growth after investment. And then we choose to create social ventures, and also based on the definition of the social issues, we define the impact and how the social ventures how the social ventures could create the impact, and how they grow, how much the social ventures grow after the investment. Finally, we provide the acceleration to expand and enhance the creation of social value by the company.
Additionally, we offer guidelines on the data collection for measuring social value, allowing for the measurement of actual social impact. If you guys look at the portfolio we invest in as a ESG, we can be structured over 4 areas. The environmental things and composite of 45%, the income and social service accessibility and including 45%. And this is the which things and include the sub-theme as shown in the table. Although the environmental issues are getting more attention globally and also Korea, there are employment and education still major themes and social ventures. Based on the government and social venture data in 2022, more than half of Korea's social ventures are located in social areas such as employment, health, and care, and about 3% are located in the environmental areas. So our portfolio also follows the proportion of the population, the ESG. Finally, the following is about the cases we invest in. I would like to talk about the interesting cases and maybe 3 types of investing approaches as a strategic investor, and financial investor, and global case. The first case is there is a company called AM Poly, which makes a material called nanocellulose from rice husking, which replaces plastic. It has received technical certification from US and Europe, and it's gonna be capable of mass production. As you guys know, Lincoln Posco, a large company, was known as a steel company, but recently invested a large amount of money in AM Poly as a strategic as a sustainable material company in the future. This is one of the examples, I think, an strategic investor. The next 2 cases are here. Next examples are here. Hyosung Group, small and medium companies in Korea, invested in social ventures and called NESPA as a LP. NESPA is a company that extracts nylon from discarded fishing net and make it into a recycled chip. Company business is rapidly grow, and because the company business is entering the Southeast Asia country, and also as well as actively collaborating with large company, and also the funding from Oika and Kutra. So Hyosung Group expects a return of more than 100 times its initial investment. So also the impact scale investment as a LP, so we're gonna expect a huge return from this one. Finally, there are example social ventures investment in Vietnam. We impact scale 2 years ago. We are starting to impact investment in Vietnam, and also trying to do impact investment in Indonesia, because as Korean impact investment market is expanding, so a lot of social ventures are going to move to Southeast Asia countries, so many LPs and financial institutions, government and so forth to get investment in Southeast Asia countries. There are example social ventures investment in Vietnam. A company called Piteski, I don't know the title, why is Piteski? I think it'll be. The company hired a woman with a vocational training and provide business models on demanding home cleaning and child care services. The company has are getting a huge impact in Vietnam because then they just then hired 100 workers in 2 years ago, starting the Pepsi business model, and then right now they hired almost 5,000 people and to provide the to provide this to work job and the improving the employment issues in Vietnam. The distribution company, the one of the distribution company, I cannot have the title in here, but the distribution company they invest in the in Vitebsk aims to expand its distribution channels in Southeast Asia and seek opportunity by utilizing the infrastructures and by investing. As you know, actually you guys are mostly lawyer. So there is no legal terms in my presentation, but as an impact investors, I just trying to share how the impact investment ecosystem has increased in Korea, and also the various cases and interesting cases based on the different type of impact investment strategy are more encouraging and more diversified in Korea. So, as you know, the impact investment type and strategy are diversified, and also the various IPs and participating. So, I think that there are pros and cons in here. So, we face a lot of challenges to address how to challenges as the impact investment expanding. Because there's a lot of as some of the speakers have mentioned, the Korean nursing and impact nursing is more challenges we face in the next year. But as a positive person, I believe that the impact investment ecosystem is expanding. So we're gonna change this ecosystem and this society and through also in the social and environmental with the investment tools. So I hope you guys are here will be more involved in investment as also the encouraging you guys clients and you guys people around here. Thank you.
Thank you. So 3 questions. I got 3 books out there at the front desk. So 3 questions. First 3 hands to go up. 1. I'll come back and we get the other 2. Come on. Free book autographed by a leading globally recognized author. Go ahead, ask your question.
Hi, I'm a corporate partner of Contact. Just curious that when the global funds make their decision, for example, when they invest in China or invest in South Korea, are they using the ESG standard of their home country or using the ESG standard of the target of the destination country? I understand there's no
Good question. So Young, what do you think when American company invests in Korean business?
Actually, for U.S. firms, I saw many cases they have internal ESG guidelines for their purposes. But in terms of evaluating the company, the target companies in compliance with ESG guidelines that are local laws, so that would be they are using both.
Yeah.
For China as well, in France, Mark, what do you think?
It would be similar, but I think they're mostly using their own standards to invest in ESG. They have an idea of what they want to invest in. If they're specifically focused on being on France ESG rules, then they'll focus on that. I think it more comes into if you're looking at the funds in France or the companies that want to attract investment from around the world. They're gonna have to decide where they want their investment to come from. So, for instance, if you're in France and you want to attract U.S. money, you're gonna have U.S. rules.
So from a defensive measure, my experience, a U.S. company, for instance, would not want to comply with U.S. law to get written up in the New York Times, even though they're complying with, say, Korean or China or French standards. So for a defensive measure, you had to comply with both of them. So thank you all. 11 o'clock, I love being on time. And I'm sorry, 12 o'clock, I'm on a different time zone. So please, the food will be, I assume it's going to be right out there where it was yesterday. And thank you all for being here. Thank you very much.